everyone, I'm the Dynamite Doll, and you're watching episode number 9 on Dirt with the Doll. Today's guest is someone I find very inspiring. She's from Saddle Lake Cree Nation. She is Sage Mo, the Matriarch. How are you today?
Hello, thank you so much for having me on.
This is so great. We've wanted to connect like this for a while. Did you have a great Christmas and Happy New Year's as well?
Yes, Happy New Year's. I'm really looking forward to starting 2026 off with a bang. And yeah, like I had a great holidays and yeah, just really looking forward to starting the new year off strong. And of course, starting the new year off here with you.
In the dollhouse, I welcome you. My new
Thank
space
you.
that I'm creating here. I first want
It's
to thank you
gorgeous.
for allowing me to reschedule. As things happen, we're all human. I got a little Christmas burnt out, and it's really important for me to talk about real life and real life struggles and mental health. And you know what? I had that Christmas burnout. I needed some time off, and you were so accommodating. And I just want to say thank you. So let's get this
Thank
done.
you. I know like I had some struggles on the holidays too. So I really thank you for just showing me that grace back. I was scrolling through Facebook and seeing everybody's like inspirational posts, and I was gonna post like my highlights and all the cool stuff that I did in 2025, and then just January 1st, I just woke up feeling so heavy and so sad. And I just was like, you know what? I'm grateful for everything and all the opportunities that 2025 brought, but just
It
really
hits.
looking forward to moving forward with 2026. So I
Yeah.
just left it at that and didn't bother with the highlight reel.
Yeah. You know what? I kept my resolutions really simple this year because sometimes we make them too high and we're never going to check them off. So I was like, really, really easy. Like, I want to, do this, 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 and that, things that are achievable. So um,
Yeah.
I do, I like to focus here in the dollhouse stories, people that I meet along the way that inspire me. And so that's why I wanted to have you here today. So I want to dive in and get into your story and
Thank
how
you. This has
important it
been
is.
so overdue. Like we've been trying to just get together and vibe for a minute. So I'm so happy that this is happening now.
Yeah. And how important it is for women supporting women in professional wrestling. And so that's one reason you and
Definitely.
I have bonded as well. So, and we're both wearing pink. So, like, clearly,
Right? There you go.
clearly we're the same. So, you're from
It's my
Saddle
favorite
Cree.
color. So I'm usually more often than not wearing pink.
Oh, good. That's my favorite color too. Perfect.
There you go.
So, you're from Saddle Lake Cree Nation. Did you grow up there?
Yes.
You did. So, that's,
Yeah, and that was honestly one of my greatest. I know I didn't post the highlight reel
yeah.
for 2025, but that was one of my greatest accomplishments in 2025 was I was able to bring wrestling back to my home community, Saddle Lake. And so we had a 2-day wrestling event in Saddle Lake Cree Nation this summer. And it was just amazing to bring like our MPW family out there, to bring just wrestlers from BC out there. And it was a great time to just be embraced by my community.
That is so awesome. And it was summertime. So, were they outdoor shows?
No, they were
Indoor?
in our arena is called the Home of the Warriors. So I felt like that was perfect too.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had our 2-day wrestling event in Saddle Lake Cree Nation at the Home of the Warriors.
What was it like growing up there?
I lived in Saddle Lake very briefly, and then we moved to a small town just outside of Saddle Lake for a few more years. And then I moved to the city when I was 10. So I've been kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
But we've always gone back to Saddle Lake. Like my connection to Saddle Lake has always been, I'd say, more like spiritual and ceremonial. So
Yeah.
we always go back there for ceremony. My uncle runs sweat. My Muslim and my cookum used to run sweat ceremonies out there. And then it's been, I guess the torch has kind of been passed to my uncle and my aunt. So they continue on with the sweat ceremonies and the fasting ceremonies, and try to go out there as much as we can. Definitely, usually for the fasts. but we do try to go out and sweat as much as we can. So that's always been, I guess, my connection to Saddle Lake.
Oh, I would love to do a sweat. I never have, but it's
It's
not
so powerful and it's
really. Can
so
you do it in the winter, or does it have to be?
oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we
probably a
sweat
better
and
time.
honestly it's amazing in the winter because you'll be in there and it's so hot, obviously.
Yeah,
But then you go outside and it's just like the cold, the
yeah,
cold hot
yeah,
therapy, I guess.
yeah, yeah. That's like cold hot therapy. Very cool. So, did you find there were a lot of opportunities with sports and extracurricular activities growing up in that area?
Honestly, I so the high school I went to is Amiskwaci Academy. Shout out to Amiskwaci Academy. And honestly, I would say growing up like in high school, there wasn't really a lot for sports if you didn't play basketball or volleyball. And I think that's really even still that's the case in a lot of indigenous schools. And a lot of schools, right? Like there's just if you don't fall into one of those options, you kind of fall through the cracks. And that's unfortunately what happened to me because I don't know. I just wasn't really into like
Yeah,
basketball or volleyball.
yeah.
And that
That's so
seemed
funny
to
because my
be
mom played basketball.
right. And it just seemed like
Yeah,
that's the only options. There was no wrestling team.
yeah.
There was nothing like that. It was just basketball, volleyball, or like go smoke at Kingsway. So
Yeah,
that's what I did.
that would have been me. Yeah.
Right.
Was there one person that you looked up to growing up that, like, maybe it was a cousin, maybe it was an older sibling or a teacher or something that inspired you or motivated you as a child?
You know what? Like, I think growing up, I really, really struggled with my indigenous identity. It was really, I grew up, I guess kind of like with a lot of that shame. And so it was really hard to proudly say, like, I'm Cree or I'm indigenous. And that took a lot of time for me to find because growing up, there were no people that looked like me that were doing things that you could be proud of, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember when I was a little girl, I went to a concert and I sat front row and it was so amazing because I thought in my mind there was this Cree woman that was just rocking the stage and it was so cool to see that. But then I grew up and we found out that Buffy St. Marie wasn't actually indigenous and that was like so heartbreaking. But
The
it's
thought she could have
really
been.
right.
Yeah.
And so it was really that moment I remember thinking like this is so cool to see a Cree woman doing this. And then the heartbreak of finding that, it wasn't real. It was just like a fairy tale, really. But the cool thing is that now we're able to be a part of this like resurgence where there really is a lot of indigenous artists and indigenous professionals. And there's just like this uprisal of indigenous
Absolutely.
people doing really cool things. And being kind of like an inspiration to our younger generation now. And I think that's really special to be a part of.
Absolutely. Especially females. So a lot of people
Yeah.
don't realize that I am also Indigenous. So we're from Carry the Kettle,
Mhm.
yeah, Nakota Nation. So when I
I
met you,
remember.
you were first starting to train in wrestling, and I was just like, yes, like I love this girl. I want her to succeed and like do it for our people. My mom and my aunt Julie, who are very proudly Indigenous strong women, they
Yeah.
absolutely loved you, and they were there the first night I met you. I think they had met you
Yeah.
several times already, and they had already told me how much they loved you. But you probably get that a lot in our community. Does that feel like a lot of pressure, or do you like being that role model for young girls?
Honestly, like I said, like growing up, like I really felt lost with the indigenous identity. And I had a hard time being proud of that. And I guess like wrestling has really been that gift for me that it's really allowed me the opportunity to go into our communities because I've done Tony Candelo's Northern tour several times, And with that, like if for whoever's unfamiliar with
We
the
will get into that.
infamous Northern Tour,
I
it's
got
you're
that question coming down the line.
yeah, so it's basically it's a tour that you go through to these isolated indigenous communities, and you're taking ice roads and bush roads, and it's a very crazy, crazy tour. And so being able to do that and go into our indigenous communities and have the reception that I get in those communities has been it's almost like medicinal in a way. That sounds so cheesy, but it's so I can't think of any other way to say it.
Yeah.
Especially on my first tour, but even right up until my last tour last year, the love and support and recognition that I get in those communities, I literally like I cry myself to sleep on those tours almost
Right.
every night because it's
I know
so
it's almost like
powerful.
double, when you come out those curtains and they talk about that adrenaline rush, you're almost experiencing that like twofold because of, the connection with your roots and these young girls looking up to you, and not just girls either, children as well, or just people in the community. So I can't imagine
Not
how
even
amazing
just
that must
children, but like you get like your cookums and your mushums and you
feel.
see them like coming in their little wheelchairs or their
Yeah.
with their
Yes.
little canes and they're sitting there and it's just that is almost to me I won't say it's like more, but it's just as cool as like the connection you like we make with the youth
Yeah.
is the
True.
connection that we make with our elders and being
Yeah.
able to do something for them to see like how cool for them to see us this resurgence of our culture and this resurgence of pride in self
Mhm.
when they live through like the most atrocities that could be imagined. So for them to really have that like full circle moment where they're able to come back to that pride of being indigenous. That is really powerful.
And bringing these events to to your reserve that you're from, that's so cool. And because they don't get a lot of opportunities to have those types of shows, and so that's so great that you're a
No, and
part of it.
especially on the northern tours, like that's that's it. That's really the only show that comes to town, like and there's not a lot of events. If there are events, they're all kind of community run,
Yeah.
but Tony is about the only like outsider that brings a regular show every year. And you can see how people look forward to that every year.
So you haven't actually wrestled very long. You have both a heartbreaking
No.
story and also inspiring at the same time. How
Yeah.
how did you break into the business?
That's yeah, like you said, it's definitely like wrestling. It's got its ups and downs, and really my story, I think of it a lot like wrestling where there is that, there's the shine where I like I said, I never really wanted to be a wrestler. My dreams, I guess, were a little bit more
What were your dreams before discovering wrestling?
abstract. Really, I just wanted to be a mom. Like I truly believe that if you want to change the world, you can truly change the world just by going home and being a good mother. That, to being a good mother to your children, you are their whole world.
Yeah,
And I guess the butterfly effect of just being a good mom and loving your kids to the best of your ability,
and
you
sending them
have no
out into
idea
the
the
world.
effect that can have on the entire world. So for me, that was my dream that I was really happily living. I have two beautiful sons, Gio and Quentin. And I was truly, like I said, just living my dream. And one May long weekend, we went out for dinner. We went out for a celebration dinner to celebrate Gio finally mastering the potty and his little brother Quentin turning 5 months old that day. So we went out for dinner and we picked a table on the patio in the sunlight. And it was one of those moments where you just feel like you have it all. And so we were laughing and we raised our glasses of water and a toast and we cheers to life. And just moments after putting our glasses down, there was an impaired driver who drove his SUV through the patio, running over our table and pinning my firstborn son, Gio, to the brick wall. Um, the impact was so severe on me. Like I went, I got hit so hard, I went flying out of my shoes. And I just remember thinking, like, I have to, where's Gio? Where's like everybody that was like my family was with me. And my youngest son, Quentin, was strapped into his car seat. He fell asleep on the way to the restaurant. So we just left him strapped in like you would be in the car. And his car seat literally, like, it went flying 6 feet. It hit the brick wall, went flying another 6 feet, and landed upside down. So Quentin falling asleep on the way to the restaurant is the only reason he's still alive. Um, Unfortunately, my son Gio was killed that day, and it's something that I really, really required the support of our community at that time. And like I said, I had no connection to wrestling at that time, but I reached out to my entire community. I went around my
Neighborhood.
neighborhood and I
Yeah.
printed off like 200 posters just kind of explaining what happened and the support that I was calling out for. And I went door to door and left all these posters everywhere asking for people to support us through the court process. And so we built a group called Justice for Geo. And in that group, or from that group, I guess, Monster Pro Wrestling heard our cry and they put on an event called For Justice for Geo. And they gave us a little belt with Gio's name on it. And they had our whole family sitting in the front row. And they brought us into the ring and they gave us this little belt while the whole crowd was just chanting Gio's name. And it was just such a powerful moment. Like, and then, I mean, obviously, I went on like a 10-year healing journey of just trying to survive all of that. And in that process, I started going down all these different roads with like modeling and dancing, doing all this stuff. And as Massive kind of seen me getting out there a little bit more, he reached out and he said, I think you would be a great fit at Monster Pro Wrestling. And I think originally he thought like maybe as an announcer or a manager or something
Something.
like that. But I grew up with all brothers out
Yeah.
in like the bush. So as soon as he said wrestling, I was like, yeah, I want to wrestle. And as soon as he said it, it was like it all clicked and it all just came to me. And it was just, this is going to sound crazy, but it feels like this whole wrestling journey has just been a gift from Gio.
Yeah. Maybe he would have like, or maybe he already did love wrestling at that age. Maybe.
He honestly did. Like he was such a little shit ass, like always like fighting his like I'd have to
Yeah.
tell him like you can't be choking out your girl cousins, okay? You can do that with like your little boyfriends or whatever, but you can't be going and like choking out your girl cousins because he was always trying to throw a headlock on whoever, you know.
Yeah.
So that's
I
why it almost feels like a gift from him in a way.
I thank you for sharing your story with me. I know it's not easy. The whole time you're telling the story, I'm just like, I have goosebumps, but I know the outcome and your strength and how beautiful you are. And you know, we're going to talk about all that today. So thank you for just being so strong and sharing your story, because it's all about helping other people too when they hear your story and they see how far you've come. And I think it's so great that you actually went out and put posters up to like get your community behind you, and they helped you. Like you found wrestling
Yeah.
through it. So that's so crazy and amazing. So were you with the father at the time, Gio's father?
Yeah, so like I said, it was me and my son's father and our two sons that were out at this restaurant at that time. And yeah,
Like I
we
can't
are
imagine grieving, you know, your child when you still had a 5-month-old baby.
it a
how,
lot.
how
Like
did
there
you push
was
through and find strength to keep going?
it honestly, it just felt like one long battle. You know, there was a lot of not only like personal battles within myself, but there was like emotional battles like within my relationship. There was battles against the court. And so for I would say like the good first 5 years was just one unrelenting long ass battle.
Yeah.
And I feel like as long as I was in that like fight mode, that I was ready. You know, it
Yeah.
was as soon as things got quiet and there was no one left to fight and there was no, no fight left to go off on. That's when things kind of started falling apart, I guess, for me. And I started thinking like, okay, now what? Because when I was fighting, I was good. But it's just when
Those
everything
quiet
slowed
moments.
down, that I just felt lost.
Yeah. And I'm sure having that little one, you would just look at him and fight for him. Like that was probably a huge
Yeah.
motivation for you.
Yeah, definitely. And still, like now the fight is, I guess, different. It's like fighting myself and trying to be the best role model I can be, not just for like the youth that I get to connect with, but really for my son, showing him that, you can go through the worst things in your life and still come out a better human being. It's, you know, not about like what happens to you, but what you do with it, I guess.
Yes. How important was it who you surrounded yourself with at that time?
I feel like that's been something that's ongoing and changing because there's been so many people that have helped me along the way. Like I really truly believe no man is an island. I hate the term like self-made because I don't think anybody is self-made. I think people who claim to be self-made forget about everybody that helped them along the way, and
Yeah,
there are
that's true.
so many people like I said, right from day one, I guess, on my healing journey, when I went around my neighborhood handing out posters, there were so many people that showed up for me from that moment on and have continued to show up for me in this day, like over the last 3.5 years of my wrestling. I'm really blessed to have like the crew that I broke in with, MPW, Monster Pro Wrestling here in Edmonton. We're just like a family. And this was at a time that I felt like I had nobody. So to come to wrestling and find this like crazy family of people that I probably would have never talked to to begin with,
Yeah.
but wrestling brought us all together. And we really became this family of like misfits. And they saved me so much more than they even realize. Like Massive has become really like a father figure to me. And then I got what I needed, just more, is like more brothers.
Yeah.
And it's awesome because we're even starting to have more women come to wrestling. And so it's the family
It's
aspect, I
growing,
guess, that I've
ever
created
growing.
at MPW.
Do you have a pre-show ritual? And how do you keep the spirit of your son alive?
I say my ritual would just be in like getting ready. And I'm very, I guess, methodical in getting ready. And that's why I like to get to the venue and leave myself time to like do everything in the way that I like to. Cause even just like putting on my paint and everything there's like a method to it, and there's just things. It's become, I guess it's like my routine or whatever, but it's just like, yeah, something that I find very grounding just in getting ready and doing my paint and getting my
Yeah.
gear on and everything.
How long does that process take usually for you? Like the makeup and
It's like really, it depends. Usually, like if I'm trying to keep things quick, I have a girl, so it'll take me
yeah.
like an hour to do my hair, my makeup, get dressed, and be ring ready.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
enough.
like to get to the venue usually like at least 2 hours so that I have time to like stretch that out and say hi and visit. Otherwise, it's like the blinkers are on and I'm like, don't talk to me,
Yeah.
don't look at me. I need to get ready. But
I feel you. I'm the same. And just like
right.
check out the space. Like, where am I getting ready?
Yeah. You need time to settle in, to
Yeah.
say hi, shake hands with everybody. So
So you started training at Monster Pro. What was the training regime like?
My training, so when I first started training, I was managing a tattoo shop and I was still modeling and I still had so much stuff going on in my life, plus being a single mom and all of that, that it was crazy. I would leave my house at like 8 a.m. and I wouldn't get home till like 10 p.m. and almost every day. And it was crazy. I was training 3 times a week. And I remember my coach was hard. My coach was hard on me. Like he would not let me miss a single practice. I remember when I started missing like a practice here or there, like he had to sit down with me and he was like, if this is something you want to do, I need your commitment to this. Like you can't be showing up half the time and whatever. Like he really gave me a sit down talking to. I was crying. I was like, this is
Yeah.
what I want to do. He's like, well, show me. And yeah, so I really locked into, training 3 times a week for a couple hours every week. Um, yeah, it was really, really intense.
So that'd be after you'd work a full, like, normal work day?
Yeah, exactly. So it really threw me on my ass there at first.
Did you have days you wanted to give up, or did it give you purpose?
Definitely both. Like, yes. Because when I first started wrestling, I I first started wrestling, honestly, just being totally, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but just being real, I guess, with
Yeah.
you. I started wrestling um just a few months after my last attempt because suicidal ideation is something that like I've struggled with the majority of my life. And so my last attempt was literally just a few months before I started wrestling. And so, like I said, wrestling really, really gave me that purpose. It really gave me something solid to, get my claws into.
Yeah.
But then, right after I started wrestling in April, was when I lost one of my best friends passed away. And I remember just feeling so lost and just dropping everything, getting in my car. I drove to Vancouver for whatever reason, and I didn't come home for like 2 weeks, and I didn't talk to anybody. And so, like, nobody knew where I was, and nobody knew what was really going on with me. And I just, like, I would say at that time was when Massive was like, "Well, what you gotta make a choice here and what's gonna happen." And that's when I really just kinda locked in and just gave it all, left it in creator's hands and just said, "Okay, this is what I'm gonna do."
Is it like, when you're upset and you get a tattoo and you can take that pain? Is that how you felt at that time when you first started training and, like, taking those bumps and you were going through so much? Did it feel like you could
Yeah.
just take anything?
Yeah, it's crazy because like, wrestling has really I remember when I first started wrestling, I didn't feel like I felt like I think that was just so disconnected from my body, through all the trauma and everything. Like, that's a symptom of PTSD is just the disconnection. And so, I think that was really where I was at when I first started wrestling because I felt like I had blinders on the whole time. I would go out and wrestle a whole match in front of people and not even be able to, like, tell you anything. I was like, "What just happened?"
The
Because it was
anxiety,
just like an out of body
the rush.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess through wrestling, I've been able to kinda, like, settle into my body a little bit more. So it definitely hurts. I'm feeling things a little bit more now, but it's crazy how wrestling has really brought me back to, like, a somatic experience there.
What do you think it is about wrestling that kind of drew you in as a place of safety, somewhere you could build and connect and grow?
I think it was really, like I said, I'll always go back to just the family vibes with MPW
Yeah.
and just really.
Because you didn't grow up playing sports, right? So you never had that, like, feeling of
Yeah,
being
I
on
mean,
the
like, I
team
grew up with
or
little brothers, but I was never really the athlete myself. It was always I was, like, the one getting beat up by my brothers. I was the one,
yeah.
like, going to my brother's hockey games or
Are
something,
you the
but
youngest?
Yes, I'm the
Yeah.
baby in my family, and I'm the only
Wow.
girl, so that'll give you, like, a little idea of how I grew
Yeah,
up.
very much so. I
Yeah,
can
and
totally relate
that's
to that as well. Like I didn't really grow up playing sports. I was just so shy and timid. And when I first started going to wrestling shows, I backstage, I felt like, oh my God, I belong. Like I met my people
yeah.
and yeah, we're all a bunch of misfits and none of us are normal, but we all get along and we're one big family. So I totally know what you mean about that.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is that, like, especially looking around in the locker room too, and there's so many people that you're like, I would have never imagined that these people would be my best friends.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
you all
and
have something in
it's
common and
crazy how it
that's wrestling.
happened.
Yeah. So all this time passes. You fought long and hard to get Geo's photos on 20 trucks across Canada, and that was through M.A.D., Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. What was it like
Yeah,
for you to speak at that event and to see his picture revealed on there?
that was so it was just crazy. Like we've fought so much for in Geo's name, like in the courts. I also like I did a cross country trip in Geo's name, I guess. It was like Journey for Geo. And I went across Canada, 16 different towns and cities, and I gathered over 1,100 letters in support of stronger driving laws. And then I went to Ottawa and I hand delivered them to the justice minister there. So there's been so many years and years
Yeah.
of fighting that to
This was
see
8 years later.
this was so this year will be the 13th year. So May will be the 13th year. Um, so to see his picture on those trucks, knowing that they're going nationwide, knowing that they'll be seen by so many different people, especially, almost a decade later now, it's it's awesome just to know that his story is still alive. That was, I guess, the hardest thing for me, losing a child at 2. You think like who will remember him and how will we keep his name and his legacy alive? So to see that, 13 years later that we're still having these conversations about him, that his picture is still out there, that is just that's everything to me.
And I watched the video you'd posted, and you were so well spoken and strong, and you had your other son with you, and you looked beautiful. You said
Yeah.
that Geo was a light in a dark world. And in moments of darkness, how do you keep his legacy alive?
I would say, it's amazing how no matter what I'm doing in my life, like I can always still feel him there. Like right now, running is my big thing. I've been running so much recently.
I don't know how you're doing it in the snow, but good for you.
It's bundling up, definitely bundling up. But
I
it's
guess you're used to
when I'm
sweat in
running,
and
it's
out.
it's weird because I can almost like call upon him, and it's almost like I feel it sounds crazy, but it's almost like I
Yeah.
feel him running alongside me. Or, so there's so many different ways that, even 13 years later, he continues to motivate me. He continues to push me. But it's also, my surviving son, Quentin, having him look up to me, over the holidays, he started going onto the treadmill and like just doing little runs on the
Yeah.
treadmill. That made me so
Is he a
proud.
teenager now? Did he just turn?
Right? To see
He's
him
13
like
now, right?
and he's 13. Yeah, he just
Yeah,
turned
he's a
13 in
teenager.
December. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
to
See, you're
see
setting
him
a good.
wanting to, like, get out there and start running or just to be, like, healthy, that's everything.
Yeah, and it's not crazy that you feel him outside because I actually feel my dad the most, I find, in Mother Nature, like the trees,
Yeah.
in the wind, the water, watching the water ripple. That's when I feel my dad the strongest. So I love summer and just like sitting near the river. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and I think, like, I truly believe that, as Cree people, we call ourselves, like, we are, the people who came from the stars. And even in science, science tells us that, like, we came from the stars, that we are made up of that star matter. And so I really believe that just like science says that energy cannot be created or destroyed, that the energy that was there is still here.
Yeah,
It's just taken on a different form. So that
absolutely.
energy is in the trees and that energy is in the river, and that's how we get to go and
Mhm.
be with them. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I
it's
know.
not just a crazy feeling, it's
No,
the scientific
I
fact.
started really connecting with that this past summer, I think, for me. And now, I mean,
Yeah.
not snow doesn't do it for me. I'm not feeling it in the snow, but I'm gonna have to
You gotta
find other
find a
ways.
lab. I have like I have beaver fur mitts that your hands are sweating in
Yeah.
those.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that would be good.
Yeah. Having a
I
lot
need a
of
whole
good layers is important.
beaver jacket, hats.
There you go.
Before wrestling, what would your outlet have been?
Honestly, it was so many different things. Like I feel like I've always been trying different things just to kind of find where I belong. I
Yeah.
think art has always been a huge thing. My dad was an artist, so I come from that lineage, but also just traveling and experiencing culture and just yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you went to Mexico. You've done some wrestling in Mexico too.
Yeah, we went to Mexico in 2025. That was, we're going through my highlight reel here
Yeah.
anyways. That was another super great
Spoiler
accomplishment,
alert.
right? This super great accomplishment for 2025. We went to Mexico. It was crazy because like we were a part of Jacques Rougeau's wrestling academy, and the prize for that was supposed to be a week in Mexico and a week in Japan. And I had told myself before the competition even went on, I was like, regardless of what happens, I'm going to Mexico. And
Yeah.
so I made it to the semifinals, and we didn't go all the way, unfortunately, but we did go to Mexico for a month. And, I wasn't going to let something like not winning
Yeah.
Wrestling Academy hold me back from following my dreams. So yeah,
And
we went
yep.
to Mexico City. We trained in Psycho Pato del Ring with like Psycho Clowns training
Yeah.
facility out there. It's crazy. Just the art and the culture and the lifestyle of lucha libre, because it is a
And it's
lifestyle
hot.
out there. Like
Yeah.
they start them young. Saturday mornings, they had a class of like 5-year-olds, and these little 5-year-olds are climbing up to the top of the ropes and like jumping off. I'm like,
Yeah.
child, it took me a year to get up to the top rope because I was so scared. I'm scared of heights. So
You're much more agile at that age.
yeah, no, these kids were crazy.
That is so, do you guys have plans to go back?
We are toying with the idea. Like my heart, we loved our time in Mexico so much. And it was just such an incredible experience.
Yeah. And
But I
that's
also,
you and Levi, right? Your boyfriend. He's also a
yeah, so
wrestler.
just assume. So yeah, my
Yeah.
partner Levi, who I met on the death tour, we've been together pretty much my entire wrestling career too. So we've been together for 3 years now. And yeah, we went to Mexico together. And so honestly, being able to experience so much of my wrestling career with Levi, he's been such a huge driving force in
It's good to
everything,
have that. I'm
just
sure there's a lot of moments where you have self-doubt, but then you have him to, you know,
exactly. Just always having him there like really keeps me grounded. We work a majority of our shows together so that there are a few times that I do have to go and like catch a flight or something and go work a show without him. And those are always the worst. Not the worst, but it's just like I definitely feel him not there.
helps.
Have to carry my own bags. Like
That's how I feel without my mom at shows. I got to carry my
right?
own
It's the
bags.
worst.
My
Your
momager.
mom is so awesome. It was great having her just around. I want to be able to spend more time with you guys.
I know. Move to Calgary.
Right? I'm coming to Calgary. I'll be in Calgary first week of February. So we definitely got to hang out then.
Absolutely. She would love that too. So of course we have those moments. Why me? How hard was it to push through that thought process, and what did you use as your motivation? I guess we might already covered that. Your son, of
That's
course.
okay. I love that question because I know that that's something that, you know, melancholy is something that I've always has just kind of been a part of my life. And through that, I tend to get caught up in that a lot, wondering like, why me?
Mm,
And I think the most important thing, like I sometimes just try to like snap myself out of it. I'm like, girl, like why not you? Like what makes you so special that you deserve to not have to go through all these things that like everybody in life struggles with, you know? So instead of why me, it's more like why not me, you know? And just realizing that this path is inherently mine. Like it or not, this is the path that I've been given. And so just trying to make the most out of that, you know, in the ways that I can. Because I can't control the universe and I can't control what happens to me and I can't control how people view me or respond to me, but I can control myself and how I respond and how I carry myself. So I think once I realized that was the only way I could take my power back, that's what I started trying to focus on.
And I've also heard the saying, like God only gives individuals the hard lessons that can handle it. So like you are a
Yeah.
strong woman. You, of course it sucks and no one wants that to happen. And of course we're going to have those why me moments, but you are so strong and you're still here proving today that you're not going to let it stop you.
Really just realizing how everything is connected, you know, and just like that yin and yang, everything has the good and everything has the bad, you know. Obviously, like I would much rather just be a mom with my two kids at home.
Yeah.
But without the loss of my son, I don't think I would be here wrestling today. Like I would be at home just baking cookies. We probably wouldn't even know each other. I wouldn't have met my partner Levi. Like there's so much good in
Mhm.
my life that came from the absolute worst thing that ever happened. You
Yeah.
know, so it's really sitting in this shit long enough to find the gold. My mom always told me you got to dig deep if you want to find the gold. So just digging deep enough to find the gold that's there, you know.
I love that. So
Mhm.
there's so much to you that is beautiful. I chose wearing bright colors, the traditional feathers, the makeup that we talked about, your positive attitude, you never give up. But what I really like about you and your social media is I see you using your voice. So
Yeah.
if it's for Indigenous women's rights, if it's against drunk drivers, if it's missing people in the community, you are not afraid to use your voice. And I love that about you. So I saw you, this summer when with Samuel Bird was missing. You
Yes.
were posting, making videos on foot. And I found that so inspiring that it made me want to get out there and do something. So I absolutely love that about you. What inspires you to do this and how did you find your voice?
I think really just realizing the effect that our community had on me when I needed them most. You know,
Yeah.
that was my lifeline. And so also realizing that, you know, people can't help you unless you are able to ask for that help. You know, a lot of people can't just
Know that you
know
need it.
inherently that this is what you need or this is the help you need. A lot of times you have to use your voice to say, like, I need this so that I can do this or whatever.
Yeah.
And so realizing how much having that community support when I needed it is obviously like that's my pushing factor to help however I can, you know, when I'm able to. It's always you're left with feeling of like I wish that I could do more, you know, and that's a huge thing that I struggle with that, you know, there's so many times that you just feel helpless. And you
Yeah.
feel like what you do isn't enough because you know that there's so much going on, but it's just like a little drop, you know, drop by drop.
Just
So
a
that's
little
kind of,
something you can do.
yeah, exactly. You know, and sometimes even just the smallest things can have the biggest impacts on people, you know.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I see it in you, and I think it's beautiful. And we need more of you out there.
Yeah.
You have overcome a lot, like we've been talking about today, and you've accomplished a lot. You've held many titles. I believe you're holding a few titles right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got to
So
I
I
got to hold
have,
some of them this summer with you. That
right.
was fun.
I will hopefully be defending them this summer. We became the inaugural women's tag team champions at MexiFest, me and Kat Von Hees
Yeah.
this summer. So looking
Oh,
forward to
I
making a
have to
return
come
to
check that out.
MexiFest,
Yes. That's always
right?
fun.
MexiFest is, if you're in Calgary in July, y'all need to be at MexiFest
Yeah,
for
it's the
real.
best. Like the
Yeah,
food
and then I
truck,
also
the
have the Renegade Championship, which the Renegade Championship title was so important to me because it's the first and only title I've won that wasn't a women's title. I'm not the women's champ, I'm just the
she's
champ.
the champ.
And that's right. I'm like, yeah. So that one was so special to me for that. And also it has the Treaty 6 plates and the Treaty 4 plates on it. So that one, they're gonna have to pry that one out of my cold
Yeah.
dead hands.
That is awesome. So you've been
Yeah.
involved in filming several things as well. What the Mother Teaches. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. That was such a special project for me that um really just kind of, landed in my lap. I feel like things that are meant for us will find us wherever. So it was one of those like butterfly effect things that What the Mother Teaches came to be. And it was such an honor to be able to share stories of some of the strongest Indigenous women I know and to really share stories of Indigenous motherhood and the trials and tribulations that we overcome culturally and personally. And so I was really able to share stories with my mom and my aunties and some of my sisters. It was really special project.
Was that like a 1 hour episode they featured on you? Or how did that
So
work?
it was Ideon through Ideon Media, and it's available on YouTube, and they're just like 3 or 4 little like 15-minute webisodes. And it was funny because the director told me she had such a hard time cutting it down to that time. And I was like,
Yeah,
well,
because you
give
had
me the
so much.
B-roll. Like, I want the director's cut. And she's like, the
Yeah.
director's cut is 11 hours. That's all the footage they have.
Of
So
everybody?
yeah, she had the
Or just
tough
you?
job of editing 11 hours into like 4 15-minute episodes.
And that was just on you, those 4 15-minute episodes? Or
No,
all the women?
I was kind of like the host, and I was able. So the first episode is sharing my story, and then we go to Saddle Lake and we meet with my aunties. 2 of my aunties out in Saddle Lake. We meet with another woman who she's like an auntie to be too. She's the mother of a really close friend of mine. And then we talked with my mom virtually because my mom spends her winters in Dominican Republic. That
Nice.
snowbird.
Lovely.
And yeah, and then the 4th episode, we talked with my friend uh, here in Edmonton.
That sounds awesome. I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, it's short and sweet, but
Yeah,
really powerful and
powerful.
impactful. Yeah, like it was. I knew, like I heard all of it, obviously, as we were recording it. But as I was watching it, I couldn't stop crying.
Oh, well, I think they should give you all the footage and then just make a movie of yourself.
Yeah,
Isn't that
so I
you've
think I
got
want to write a book someday. Like, I think I want to write a
absolutely.
book and just get the whole story out there because there's been a lot that's been like edited out.
Yeah.
That
And it's so healing if you can do something like that. I've had a
yeah,
few
just
opportunities where I've just written articles and I'm like, okay, I feel better now.
right.
Yeah. Till I'm not anymore.
Until the next breakdown.
Yeah. But yeah, you've gone on the death tour, which you did mention, and it is to the
Yeah.
Northern Territories of Canada. To complete it is like a badge of honor. So what were the
Yeah.
conditions like and how many times have you done it?
So last year was my 3rd official like winter one, which is the one where we're on the ice roads and everything. I've gone on tour with Tony several times. I was actually his first ever women's champion. And so yeah, I've been on tour with Tony a few times, but it was my 3rd official like winter tour over the ice roads last February. And these tours, they are no joke. They are so crazy. Like, you are in a car. Last year, I think we maxed out at 28 hours in a vehicle.
Wow.
And then you go and you set up the ring, and then you get ready and you perform for just the most insane crowd. Like, these people are so gracious and so beautiful. It's just such a rush. And then you tear down and you find like a quiet corner to set your little sleeping bag up, and you heat up your little can of food, and you find, a few hours to sleep, and then you wake up at some ungodly hour and you do it all over again. And you do that for like 3 weeks. So it's crazy, but
I
it's
can
so
imagine.
rewarding.
I don't think I could. I want to say I could do
Yeah,
it,
you're
but I don't know
sleeping
if
on
I
a
could.
floor. There's nothing. There's no hotels. There's no restaurants.
Yeah.
There's nothing. You got to pack all your food. You got to pack your sleeping stuff, like a little sleeping bag or an air mattress or whatever, and just hope for the best.
And you sleep in the venues then, always? Or
Yeah. So usually we're performing in like schools. Yeah, usually like school gyms or something, and band halls. And so, yeah, after the show, you clean up as best as you can, and then just find like a quiet corner to set your little bed up in.
you're like, Levi, come into my sleeping bag.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, no, we've got it down to an art now. We have like a good mattress. We've got it all figured out.
Yeah.
So
It's
it's
like
good.
camping.
It's
I
just,
used to love, I love camping. I love being outside, but I hate the
yes.
sleeping part. So
Yeah.
yeah, you definitely got to
Yeah.
invest in like an air mattress and all that stuff, all the good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So as long as you're prepared well for it, then you're good.
You recently had a really big weekend of wrestling. One was for Dungeon Wrestling in Calgary, and another was
Yes.
teaming up with Shotzi Blackheart. How was that for you?
That was so amazing. Like, I feel like it was so cool for me because I feel like that was the weekend that I became legit in the eyes of my son. So,
Oh, because he
so
watches
my
WWE.
son, yeah, like he was, when I was telling him the teachers were on strike, so he was actually able to come on the road with me for those few weeks. And so he was so excited. He's like, I just want to meet Bret Hart. So we got a picture of him, and he was so stoked for that. And then also, so on the WWE 2K24, on the game, Levi made my character, and they played like the storyline of
Yeah.
it through. And in the storyline, Shotzi's like your biggest op. So it was super cool to go from like being video game opponents to being
Yeah.
real life tag team partners.
He's like a
And in
huge
my in
name.
my son's eyes, he's like, "Whole like I just played this girl on my video game, and now she's standing here in real life." So my son's a big gamer, so that was everything to
He
me.
got to meet her face to face and like take a
Yeah,
picture
so
with her.
she was so cool. She came like after the match, she just came to the green room and was just chilling with everybody. She was sitting on the couch with him, and they were watching the TV in the back in the green screen. So yeah, she was super, super nice. She gave us a bunch of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And then
shout
you
out
got
to
to wrestle in
Shotzi.
the Victoria Pavilion, the legendary Victoria Pavilion. Is
We
that
didn't actually get to be in the
Oh,
Victoria
that was the time
Pavilion,
they weren't
right?
there. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, because
Wrong tower.
the horses were getting spooked.
Ah,
So
okay, I take that back.
yeah, still got to go back.
Absolutely. It was still probably, it looked like a good venue anyways.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
was just an incredible experience, being able to talk through your match at first with Bret Hart
Yeah. Yeah. He sits
was
and does that with
awesome.
everyone. Mhm.
Yeah, so to be able to do that, and all the cool people that were on the show, there was a lot of cool people backstage, and just being able to meet everybody was awesome.
That's so good. I'm so proud of you and happy for you. I know that you were
Mhm.
really excited about that weekend.
Thank
So
you. Yeah, that weekend was huge.
if you could give advice to anyone, wrestler, mother or not, someone who's grieving or someone who's just struggling to continue to move forward, what would it be?
I think really, in Cree, we say akamemuk, and it's just like keep going. If you don't like where you're at, just keep going, because soon you'll get past that. And regardless, like no matter what you find in life, just keep going. I
I mean,
think
look where
that's
you're
that's
at
the
now.
one thing that will always be, change is the only thing that really stays the same. So embrace that and just keep going.
One foot in front of the other.
Yes.
It sounds
That's the way
simple,
out.
but one day at a time. That's how I look at it too often. Because if you think too deep into the future, it's like overwhelming. That's like
It
get through
is.
today. That's
Yes.
our
So
goal.
that's it. That's what I tell myself all the time. I'm like, that's the only way out is just one foot in
Yep.
front of the other and just keep going. Cause I have no idea what the future carries, you know, and I'm not gonna pretend that I have any control over that. So I just, yeah, when things don't go my way, I tell myself, like, don't question the protection because I know that I'm being guided on this
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah. That's so true. Looking back at where you started and where you are today, what are you most proud of?
That's crazy. Like it's so crazy to think about like where I started and now where I've been. But I think what I am most proud of is just the authenticity. And I think that's what people connect with the most, you know, is that it's not like a character or it's not anything. This
You're
is just
just you.
life. This is just my life.
Yeah.
And it's been a trip, you know. So I think throughout everything is just being authentic and staying true to myself and staying true to my culture. That's where I found my grounding, where I found my footing, and where I found my strengths. So
Yeah, I love that. Are there any organizations that helped you get through the darkest times that you would recommend to anyone? Maybe some kind of support group?
I know, I mean, specifically for people who have been affected by impaired driving, M.A.D.,
Yeah.
specifically the Edmonton chapter, but I mean, nationwide has been amazing for me. I used to attend their national victims conference
Yeah.
for a few years, and that was absolutely like a lifeline for me. So, I mean, even if you don't need their services personally, just even donating or just keeping their name out there, M.A.D.,
Yeah. M.A.D.
Edmonton chapter, even the national chapter, M.A.D. has done amazing things, not just for mothers, but like all victims of impaired driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is next for you and what are your goals for 2026?
My goals for 2026, they're the kind of goals that are like scary. It's almost I don't want to like speak them out loud because they seem so big right now. But I'd say, I guess I'll just say that I really want to wrestle in across Canada. This was something that we were toying with the idea last summer, but things unfortunately just didn't work out. So this summer we really want to plan our coast to coast wrestling tour. And so me and Levi are really gonna hit the ground running, starting either like on the island in Vancouver Island and travel all across Canada. So that's my big wrestling goal for this year, but really just keep getting out there. I want to travel with wrestling as much as possible. We want to go, you know, going back to Mexico would be a dream. Going to Japan would be a
Yeah.
dream. That's a serious goal for us as well. But
Yeah.
really just covering more ground here in our home country.
I don't think that sounds too unreasonable. That sounds doable.
Yeah, especially with
I
like,
feel like we
you
know
know,
people in BC and you meet people along the way. So
exactly.
you just hit up all your connections and boom, your
So
summer's
that's it.
booked.
Like, I'm actually gonna be checking off another province later on this month. I'm making an appearance, my first appearance at
Oh,
Capital City
yeah.
Wrestling.
And I just
Our
went there
old
this
friends there at
summer.
Capital City. I know you've been out there before.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I
yeah.
did want to mention that. Thank you for bringing that up because they are a wonderful promotion as well. And I'm best friends with one of the guys there, Scott Lee Crew, and he told me how excited they were to have you and that they've heard nothing but good things about you. And I was like, yep, I can definitely say that is all true. So, and then they booked
Thank
you. So I was so
you.
happy to see that you're going out there. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
so
Okay.
I'm really excited to be out east. So that's
Yeah.
my first time wrestling out in the Maritimes. So
Yeah, that was my first time too. Sorry, when is that again?
it's January
January.
24th.
Yeah. So it might be snowing, but it'll still be cool. The people there are so friendly. Great
Yeah.
promotion.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
They do a great job. So I have a few fan questions here, and then we'll be wrapping it up soon. I think you have a wrestling show tonight, so
I do here in Edmonton.
I can't believe you're already It's January, what, 2nd? You already
I know I had a lazy December, so like we gotta hit the ground running in January.
not holding back goals. Okay, so
No.
fan questions. Was it harder for you in the wrestling world being Indigenous and a female?
I wouldn't say that, like I would say the people when I came on the scene, people were excited. It was something different. And so I think that's just something different that I had to offer in an industry where it seems kind of, monotonous sometimes, or very like it's just the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really, I think people were interested to see something authentic, which,
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
easy
People
for
loved
me
it.
to offer.
How would you change the rings so they are ideal for women's bodies? It's a very interesting question.
Yeah, I don't know if there is like women's bodies come in all shapes and sizes, like I don't think there really is any cookie cutter because I mean, the ring for me at 5'9", I'm able to get in and out of the ring easily. But I've wrestled with girls who are like 5 foot nothing, who have to like crawl under the second rope. And, so I think,
That's me.
yeah. So I mean, like, really, there is no ideal woman's body. And I think women, we are just amazing at adapting at whatever we need
Exactly.
to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't matter what the ring looks like.
Yeah.
Doesn't
We're gonna
matter
get
what
it
kind of
done.
rig, we will make it work,
I
as
think
you
of that.
know.
I think of that one tiny female. I don't know her name, but she was in WWE. But she's so small, and she was dating Ricochet. I don't think they're dating anymore, but she's just like bing, bing, bing all over the ring. Tiny little athletic thing. She was like a
Yeah,
gymnast.
even this year I got to wrestle with Layla Hirsch, and she is
Oh
so
yeah,
she's like 5 foot nothing, I
yeah,
think. And so there's a picture of us going to lock up, and it looks like she's just like, yeah,
yeah. You do what you got to do.
yeah.
Is there someone non-wrestling related who has had a similar journey to you that you look up to?
Um, I don't know if it's really like similar journey to me, but like right now, I would say the person I find most motivating and the person that I'm looking up to right now is a lady. I've never met her, but I follow her on Facebook, and her name is Lanisa Miyasu, and she's an Indigenous runner. She's like an Indigenous marathoner,
Nice.
and I'm following her running journey, and
Yeah.
I'm finding just
Getting
everything she
motivated
does
from
is
her.
so
Does she
inspiring.
have tips or anything, or are you just
She like yeah, she runs and she gives all kinds of tips, and like she'll have like statements that she'll make that just resonate with me. The other day she was talking about like self-discipline without grace is just punishment. And that really helped me through the holidays because it was hard to keep my training goals going.
yeah.
And I felt kind of like let down by myself during the holidays until I realized that, self-discipline without that grace is just punishment. I don't want to punish myself. I was proud to keep my
Yeah.
training going over the holidays, even if it didn't go exactly how I planned.
Yeah.
So,
Keep trying.
yeah.
I think that was it for the fan questions. Thank you everyone for submitting those. And then I just like to end it with a fun little this or that segment. Just tell me which one you gravitate towards more. So Healing Lodge or gym?
I would definitely say the Healing Lodge.
Traditional powwow or hip hop beats?
Oh, that one's tough, but I would have to say the powwow. Like the way when you leave a powwow, it doesn't even matter. Like it doesn't matter how far away you go, you can still hear those drums
Yeah.
with you.
Follow the drums.
Yeah, I always carry that with me. So definitely the powwow.
I actually did a like, oh God, what do they call it? Like a sound therapy session one time,
Yeah.
my first time in Nelson, BC, and we were in like a Himalayan salts, whatever it was, a cave. And I don't know, it didn't do much for me except for the drums. I think it was the Indigenous in me. The drums really spoke to me, and that was the only thing that really like stuck out.
The drums are like significant of our mother's heartbeat. So I think that that's something like all the cultures worldwide, they all kind of have some form of drum or something. And I think that's one thing that really ties us all together.
Yeah. The beat of the drum.
Yeah.
Storytelling or trash talking?
Storytelling. I'm a wrestler, girl. Come on.
Beaded headdress or wrestling mask?
I would say a wrestling mask.
The Mexico speaking to you.
Right? I wanted to get like a Matriarch inspired wrestling mask.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Right?
Definitely
For my return to Mexico.
Dog sledding or snowboarding?
Definitely dog sledding. I've been both. I've been
never
dog
done it.
sledding and
to
I've been
so bad.
snowboarding, and I had way more fun dog sledding.
And that completes my this or that questions. Where can people
Yeah.
follow you? And do you have any any events coming up you'd like to plug, or anything, merchandise?
People can connect with me on my social medias. I'm Deadliest Diva on Instagram, and I'm under Sage Mo on Facebook. What else do I have to promote? Really just, yeah, like our shows here in January. Our show tonight, it'll be after you've posted this. Yeah.
Well, any events you want to see her on, just follow her on Instagram and you'll be able to see what she's posting and to keep up.
Yeah, if you ever want to get me out to your home territory, the easiest way is to just mention my name to your wrestling promoters. And that's the best way you can get the Matriarch out to your promotions.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here today and telling your story. I know it's not an easy one, but I hope that, people can find inspiration from this. Me watching you and meeting you has inspired me just as a mother, as a friend, as a wrestling sister. I love you so much. I wish you all the luck in 2026. I know you're going to crush it. And I thank you again. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Yes.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad to actually finally be in the dollhouse, and I'm so excited to see what your 2026 brings. I hope it's full of lots of love and blessings. So
thank you, honey. So thanks, everyone, for joining today on Dirt with the Doll. Thank you for joining us in the dollhouse in my new setup, and we'll see you soon. Remember to like and subscribe X Brand Wrestling on YouTube. You can find all my previous episodes on there and upcoming episodes. And remember to hashtag and share Dynamite Kid for Hall of Fame and sign that petition, because that's what this podcast is all about. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.